Welcome to this tarot reading. My name is Eva, and we have the tarot cards spread out here for our career and workplace and home work tarot reading. So this is a reading that I already shuffled and laid out the cards, and I used the Art of Love tarot deck here. If you're not familiar with tarot, this is not the traditional deck, and it's not quite in the traditional system, but I just really felt this deck calling, so that's the one I chose. So what I'm doing here is a reading for all of us who have work to do, and we all have work to do. So this is whether or not you're in the actual office place, or a working environment where you're paid, or whether you work at home on a pet project, or whether you volunteer or you're a homemaker. This is for all of us. Anything that we put our passion and energy towards, or that we do because we have to survive, right? So we're coming into this reading with this energy here. The Five of Trees correlates to the Five of Coins, or Five of Pentacles in tarot, and the key word for this particular deck is limitation, which is also a little different from traditional tarot, but I really like how we see this tree kind of filling up the image here. Its branches almost can't grow any further, so it's sort of feeling like you can't grow, or you're caught in a web that is keeping you stuck, keeping you from growing, and that can be personally, but it does relate to your work, what you're doing for your vocation, and your pet projects, things like that. We also have this tension here between the Six of Hearts, which says the past, and the Nine of Hearts, which is basically the Nine of Cups in tarot. Stability is one way of saying it. It would also be reaching that point in your life where you have everything you want. It's sometimes called the wish card. Everything you wished for has come into your life, and you're filled with happiness. I think we're all kind of trying to get there. This is sort of the goal line for why we do what we do, and yet something that's related to your past is preventing you from working towards that. So in this part of the reading, we're looking at kind of what's going on in the situation. This is more or less the conscious part of things, and this is more or less the unconscious part of things. I am seeing a lot of individuals here in tarot. There are such things as court cards, and it's unusual to see so many. There's 4 here coming up, sort of like the royalty of the suit. So the Knight, the Page, the Knight, and the Queen carry different traits of personalities with them into the situation. And then we have the Ten of Angels, also known as the Ten of Swords, which is a card, here it says surrender. It's a card of carrying a lot of anguish or mental burdens that you just are just really painful, or really tying you up to the point where you can't move, basically. You are at the end of the suit. It's the 10, and this angel comes in to help you get free, of these 10 swords pressing down on you. And this card suggests the way through is to surrender. There is something that needs to be processed. There's a pain that needs to be processed. I'm guessing it's from your past. And what we see here is what is consciously on your mind. It's what you're sort of wishing for. And we see this Knight of Stars and this Page of Hearts. To me, this is a very youthful combination. We have this girl tree figure here who's standing in water. She's rooted in water, which is the emotions, it's your dreams and wishes, it's your soul. There's these little fish moving around her, and she's rooted there, but she's spreading upward into the sky and creating this beautiful tree with flowers. She's fruiting, basically, and she's radiating light. That's, what they call innocence here. It's a return to your childhood magic, as I see it. You have a magic that you were born with and that gets lost along the way in life. This happens, I think, to most of us, especially by the time we reach our 30s, our 40s. And the only way to move through whatever the past is and to get here is to pay attention to what these are calling forward from you. So you have the Knight of Stars who wants to put all his inner fire into action and go places. He wants to make things happen. He wants to meet people. He wants to bring his fire into the world and let it be seen. We see that in both of these cards, this idea of radiating your fire. And there's something very healing when you mix water with fire. That's why I named my channel the way I named it. I'm a big believer in the elements of fire and water creating harmony, or working to create harmony between those. That's the Temperance card in tarot. Now down on this row, so this could be multiple people in your life, multiple coworkers, or people that you live with, or somehow affecting your vocational life. It could be sides of yourself. And down here, sort of rooting the whole reading, is this lovely Queen of Stars. She's the Queen of Wands. They call her the Illuminator in this deck, and you can see how she's got her eyes closed, and she's not only got a star on her forehead, she's got one at the base of her chest here where her heart is. She is tapped into her inner magic as well. That is what the Queen of Wands can do so well. That's what her gift is. She knows her inner magic, and she knows how to make it available to people. She doesn't give herself away. She doesn't go around trotting after people. She's not active like the Knight. She doesn't seek out ways to, push herself on people. She draws people to her. She attracts life to her through her own magic. And that's, I think, very key to getting out of this. But this card tells us that there is a ending that needs to be passed through, a painful chapter that needs to be closed, painful set of beliefs. Or you could have been a college student or someone like that who's been studying hard and collecting all this knowledge, and it's shut down your ability to go inward and really tap into your own inner magic. Over here we have another person who is eyes closed, tapping into the sacred flame at their fingertips, and it's sort of like there's a glow of flame above them too. There's a tree that is a part of the scenery, but also I get the sense that it's coming from them. So they are rooted into what they know about themselves, what is true. They are maybe even taking time in nature. They are drawing up into them very mindfully what creation shows us, what the wisdom of the natural world teaches us. And as they do that, they dream of what they can manifest. So this is the Knight of Trees, or Knight of Coins, or Knight of Pentacles in tarot is a slow-moving but very deliberate and determined individual who is very grounded to practical wisdom, and they are very reliable in what they do. They have a goal and they work steadily towards it. So that's a very nice energy to have grounding us here. He understands the aspects to the real world that we need to work with and how to work with them. And this card is sort of like being unable to work with our natural situation. Our real world practical situation is somehow limiting us. So you need to draw upon that sensible side of yourself, as well as your inner magic, and surrender these painful stories you're carrying, or this painful information, or words people have said to cut you down, betrayals even, swords in the back, so that you can actually arrive where you're trying to go. So I'm going to draw some more cards, just a moment. The first deck that came to mind is called the Stolen Child Tarot. So just another deck of innocence, basically, sort of committed to childhood and magic, the magic of our childhood. Now that's a very, like I said here, that's a very healing energy to tap into. I will start shuffling, and I may edit this part out if I feel like it's too loud or just takes too long. All right. Wow, the sun. That is the joy that every child is born with. You can see a very young baby there playing with what looks like, I think, seeds. And there's a cat walking through these reeds and some birds. There's this idea of innocence here too, and of totally coming into the light. The sun radiates everything, and nothing is hidden. Nothing is hidden from your maker. And if you can surrender these painful things, because they're already known, right? You're not hiding them from your creator. And so there's no harm in confessing what they are. There's no harm in telling the universe how it's hurt you. Yes, it's painful to relive those. Nobody wants to go back into that pain, but you're carrying it with you anyway. And that is what is keeping you from arriving at this beautiful place of happiness, joy, bliss, peace, everything you want. There's a sense that you need to bring out these things that you're unsure of. It could be confusion. You know, what I would suggest is some kind of cleansing ritual in which you maybe write down things associated with those beliefs, if not the actual things themselves, maybe words or memories, and then burn them in a fireplace or a candle that's safe, you know, a metal container that won't melt, and watch those pieces of paper shrivel up and turn to smoke and blow away, because that is your past and it is not your present. It does not have to be your present. You can move out of that energy, and as you come fully into the light, you can enjoy the light. You can enjoy being in the light and knowing that, you know, the sun card is a card of utter success, utter happiness. Again, it's similar in its own way to this one. I wanted to point out earlier that I forgot that the two cards here show the star on the forehead, which is, again, a star of your magic, you know, getting in touch with your own mystical side. We all come into this world, I think, with our own brand of magic, our own brand of what compels us, whether maybe it's making people laugh, you know, maybe it's listening to people, maybe it's creating beauty in some way, maybe it's being a good friend, you know, being an excellent friend. We all have our own brand of magic, and somewhere along the way we lose that, so just keep that in mind too. This is a card deck, the Nicoletta Ceccoli Tarot, that I thought of as well, because it kind of touches on some of the darker aspects to childhood, the things that children experience sometimes. It doesn't always bring up that kind of a mood. Just had the 8 of discs, it looks like, fly out here. I don't know if you can see that. I have to hold it in the light better. Sorry if my lighting is not the best. I'm still working that out. Wow. This is one of those decks that will either evoke something in you or not. There's not a whole lot I want to say about these cards. I just want to pull a couple and see what they might speak of for you, because I find them they bring up memories from childhood for me that are often unpleasant, or like an awkward moment. some loneliness, and I know that can be hard to look at, but I'm feeling like maybe it has its place in this reading. Just one or two more, please. Okay, one more. The Ace of Swords. Wow, it's such a full-on image. There's just something about the way she's standing facing us, and she's got this little, I think it's a lollipop with a frowning face. I don't know if you can see that. She's spilling it on her dress. The Ace of Swords is a card of clarity and new ideas and inspiration. It's usually a good card. All the aces come with so much potential for the suit that they represent. So the sword suit represents our mind, our thoughts, ideas, beliefs, and challenges in life, conflicts in life. So there's this, always get the sense of a girl who's getting in trouble for something. It could sort of be like that, where the root, the start of the conflict in your life, the start of the pain, the start of this, whatever this is. There's a root there that needs to be uncovered. Go back to the very beginning if you can. And like all readings, they are not complete in and of themselves. If you need professional help, by all means do seek that. I wish you all the luck in getting that, because that's so important if that's what is coming up here, that you need that. This is just a beginning for my viewers. And finally, there's a deck called Power of Surrender, which seems appropriate given that we got the surrender card here. So we'll do a little bit with this. Power of Surrender. What do we have us see? This won't suit everybody, I don't think. These cards can be a little specific, but let's see if we get more than one. Let me try that again. I feel like I wanted to break a second time, but I was up too high. Okay, we got two. One might be for some folks and one for another set of folks. Ooh, surrender your belief in scarcity. The universe is asking you to open to the infinite nature of abundance. In this way, you can remove blocks in your life and succeed beyond your wildest dreams. Before I go on with this card, I'm going to talk about this one in a minute, because it's bringing to mind this gentleman here and this card here, which, you know, the whole idea of this is that we can't move beyond where we're at. We're feeling stuck. And this card suggests that there is a part of our belief system that believes in scarcity, or that's a kind of a hard one to wrap our minds around, but I would suggest you look up scarcity mindset on the internet if you're not familiar with that. I've had to, you know, learn myself about that, and it's still something I feel like is still my go-to. It's my default. So I think we're really conditioned to have a scarcity mindset. There's only so much good, and you're not going to get more than maybe a minuscule share of it. You know, there's only so much that the divine really wants to give you, and then you're supposed to suffer. Or there's only so much success you're going to have because other people need success too, and you're not going to have very much. There just isn't enough to go around, kind of thinking. And we have this idea of a man in nature who is staring out at a, you know, he's under these clouds, but he sees a brighter future for himself. And part of your answer is in sitting still with the natural world and recognizing how abundant the natural world is. Just does the maker ever tire of creating? You know, look at all the seeds that get blown from a single dandelion. I mean, there's just no end to the potential for creation. In fact, there's so much that we're constantly having to, you know, I was thinking of a garden, because I garden, and, you know, I have things out there I have to do right now that are going to prevent weeds from taking over. There's just so many seeds blowing around all the time and landing that abundance is a real thing, and nature teaches us a lot about that. Okay, second card, surrender the habit of people pleasing. Absolutely, this is a big one too. Speak your needs and be true to yourself. Focus on your own happiness instead of always trying to make everyone else happy. Yeah, and in fact, I don't think it was this card, but it was another card in this deck I was reading earlier, how the key to the card was to not give to people, but rather to inspire people, right? And I think it's so easy to think we need to solve everyone's problems, we need to fill in their voids, we need to actually go out to the store and get them what they need, or we need to make that phone call, or especially as moms, we do this a lot for our children as they're growing up, and then they get to a point where we really need to step back and make sure they're doing these things. We can maybe coach them how to do them, walk them through it, but at some point you have to step back, and all of us need to find a point where we're no longer giving to people, but we are inspiring them to find what's inside of them to create their own magic again. So just know that you're actually doing someone a favor when you step back, and instead of pleasing them, trying to make them happy, you focus on your own gifts, your own magic, and let that radiate out, and model for them how they can also find happiness. Okay, I think that we're going to stop things here. I sure hope that was useful to my viewers, and I would love to hear in the comments how that resonated. If you have any work-related readings, topics that is, you would like me to do a reading on for the general public, something that isn't, it can be a specific topic that you're going through, but it wouldn't be specific to you per se. It would be a topic I would do a reading on for all of us. I would love to get some ideas that way. Otherwise, I'll continue to let the cards show me the topic. And I look forward to this meeting with you next week, or as soon as I can get out the next reading. Take care until then, and know your own magic.